All right, welcome everybody to our November meetup. We have an amazing topic today. We're going to be discussing 2022 marketing trends. So if you joined us, you must be wondering what's upcoming for next year. What should I focus on? What are some of the things I should be implementing in my strategy? And of course, making it an open conversation, not only sticking to the bullet points that we've put together. A brief introduction. This is a VBOUT community that's a combination of meetups, Facebook group, and also an invitations to our members. We usually get anywhere from 50 to 100 people attending live, and then we broadcast it and share it to everybody else. So the reach is quite large. I also want you to leverage the chat to put in some information about yourself, like your name, your LinkedIn, URL, or anything you'd like to share as a quick pitch. Please put it in the chat. We usually syndicate the transcript. We go over it ourselves and we connect with members that have joined, and I couldn't really speak to you before the end of the session. We have about 20,000 plus members across the board. That's only limited to our communities, but our reach is a lot more than that. If you have anything you'd like to add to this presentation, at the end, I'm going to have an open Q&A. I can add you as a panelist, and you can just pitch anything you want or say anything you want, right? During the entire presentation, please feel free to drop in your questions. I have my colleagues who will be helping me. I'll be trying to moderate as much as possible questions here. And anything that comes in on Facebook, I'll have my colleagues also share with me those questions. If I did not answer or we couldn't get to it, we probably can have a conversation offline. All right, so these are some the outline, general intro, about 30 minutes to 40 minutes of conversation on the trends. We'll have some resources available to you from us to get ready for the upcoming year, and we'll open it up for a Q&A. Usually we spill over 6, so if you have about 6:10, 6:15, that's pretty much the time that we use for these meetups. Quick introduction about VBOUT. If you are new or if you just joined for this event, VBOUT is my company and we've been building it for the past 7 years. My team and I were able to build a product that's a marketing automation stack, has a simple interface with great price, and comes with a premium support. Real people supporting you on the other side. And the combination of this have secured us one of the top placements on the market. So if you look us up on G2, GetApp, and these guys, we have gotten some amazing reviews from our clients, and we are really proud of what we've done so far in such a crowded market. In terms of what VBOUT is from a product perspective, we have different tools that allows you as a marketer to execute an end-to-end campaign, lead generation campaign. So if you want to collect leads on the top of the funnel, we have landing pages, forms, pop-ups, which you can build in VBOUT. Once you've captured those leads, you want to be able to do tracking. You want to be able to automate the sequence follow-ups via email, SMS, web push. And you want to do some email campaigns to try to drive some of that traffic and increase conversions. And finally, to retain those customers, you have to be going beyond just the basic stuff. You have to be doing lead scoring, social media, community management, and of course, analytics at the core of the product. We do integrate with a lot of third-party platforms, whether natively or via connectors like Zapier, Pabbly, Connexit, and Sync Spider launching on Friday, hopefully. And we are really focused on our integration strategy for the upcoming year. We have a full-on integration layer, whether it's an open API or an e-commerce API. So if you'd like to plug in your own software to VBOUT, we give you the capabilities to do that. Now, from a demo perspective, I won't bore you with a lot of screens. I'll just share with you a couple of screens that are relevant. This is our marketing automation visual builder, where you can craft and design those follow-up sequences using a very simple interface, as you see here. So a matter of minutes, that logic or that conversation you've had with your marketing and sales of what happens when someone fills out the form. You send them an email on day one, you assign a task to the team. Maybe you add this person to retargeting and tag them with a specific label. That entire logic can be implemented in VBOUT. It doesn't need coding. You can do it with minimal knowledge and just a bit of a learning curve. So that's probably one of our flagship products that I mentioned from the suite here. And those of you who think we do a lot, it's only the 3 phases of capture, nurture, and retain. We try to cover these. We're not a sales stack. We're not a support stack. Although some people use us in that capacity, we'll focus on those 3 phases of the marketing process. In terms of also the end result or the manifesto of the product, and I'm going to revisit this as one of our points today, is by consolidating your tools, what you're doing is you're gaining control of your customer data. All that engagement in one profile is what really going to be one of our trends for next year. So quick spoiler, that's one of the trends, is to be able to develop your first party cookie strategy. So in VBOUT, we let you do that. What pages your customer has visited, what kind of purchases they made, their total lifetime value, their original traffic source, website engagement, landing page. A lot of stuff are being tracked and recorded under their profile, because obviously the more the engagement, the higher the score, the more relevant the audience. So if you just look at that screen, that brings home everything we've built in VBOUT under one customer profile. From a landscape perspective, those of you who are wondering, how do we stack up against others? All the products that I'm listing right now, or if you're familiar with their logos, they're amazing. Hats down to them. My competitors, in my opinion, are my friends and my mentor. But the way we differentiate ourselves is we're right in the middle between the underkills and the overkills. So those products that are quite simple but leave a lot to be desired. MailChimp is one of them, amazing on the email, but they lack a lot on other marketing things. And then you have HubSpots, Marketos, Acton. These guys are very robust, very powerful, but complex, expensive. We're right in the middle between those two, and that's our goal in terms of what we're building and where we're headed. All right, so this is these are introductions. Obviously, we have to do this, guys, because it's sponsored by my company. My team puts in the effort to put these together. I put in the effort, so I have to present VBOUT to you. If you are new to our community, welcome. We invite you to leave in the chat your information, your name, your email, anything you would like to share with us, because we use the transcript to share it with the community. If you have any questions, drop them in the Q&A section or in the chat. We'll try to answer them as fast as we can. And also, I want to advise you to follow us, if possible, invite you actually to follow us on our Facebook group. If George is with us, Elsa, or if you have access to the link to our community, please put it in the chat. I would love to have you guys be part of our weekly posts. We are really engaged in terms of asking you for questions, feedback on features, what are you doing, and we'll be even more active on the upcoming year. So I'll put in a link to our community here, or if George is there, maybe you can help out and drop it in the chat.
He is with us.
Awesome.
If you can kindly put him on the paying list.
Yes, I also put it in the chat for everyone. Another giveaway I would like to present to everyone here is our academy, which has been really getting some amazing feedback. We have few courses that we built over, since the beginning of the year that we launched. So I want to share them with you and give everybody who is attending today, if you haven't attended, free access with a coupon code. We have 3 courses. One of them is a lead generation and marketing automation masterclass. Highly advise you take this. We got experts on board who shared their strategies on how you can generate leads. We also have a VBOUT agency certifications, which includes how you can use the product, resell it, white label it, repackage it, and resell, repurpose the whole software and launch it as your own. And a basic VBOUT certification if you were just a regular non-agency or non-reseller partner, a user. So with that in mind, we'll give you access to all three. I'm going to be including in the chat access and codes, so you will not have to pay to be able to take those courses. The only thing we ask you in return, give us your feedback, join our community, and spread the word if anybody needs a marketing platform. We really love your feedback and we appreciate your feedback. All right, I'm going to nominate George right now. Sorry, guys, I have multiple screens here. Here we go. Promote to panelists. So George, you're officially on as a panelist. Please share any resources to the courses along with the codes and help me with any questions on Facebook. All right. I think we have some questions already. You guys are pretty awesome. Let's see, will VBOUT integrate with Wix for push notifications? This is going to be at the mercy of Wix, guys. They don't let us upload files for web push notifications. So as of now, I would say no. But as soon as they allow us to do so, that would be optional. You can use landing pages, by the way, to create a splash page through your account on VBOUT, activate the browser push opt-in on a VBOUT landing page and get around it this way. So we've done it with a lot of clients who are limited to browser push on their Wix or other platforms like that. Awesome. Cool. Let's dive into some marketing trends. But before we do that, there's also a few things that I wanted to do, which is a review of the 2021 trends and what happened. First, we've seen an increase in user-generated content. Brands have been using them extensively on their social media channels by resharing their customers' images, posts, and even those snippets of reviews being added to emails and footers and landing pages. It's not a new trend, but in 2021, it was the center of every conversation, of every marketing strategy and every customer retention strategy. So we've seen this through last year. And a quick stats here: content promoted by followers on social get 28% more engagement than standard company posts. That tells you about social proof and how important it is. The second thing was social commerce. You are now able to sell everywhere pretty much, whether you have your shoppable post on Instagram, your Facebook store, you've launched your Shopify store in an hour and have your product and everything pretty much up and going. I think we live in an age where launching in e-commerce is easier than ever. And even buying from live chat and through email is now possible. So if you haven't seen this trend, or you haven't made a purchase through an email link with one click or through chat, I think this started already and it's only going to continue this upcoming year. We've seen zero position SEO. We love zero position SEO. Thanks to George and his team, we've been able to optimize on several keywords. I highly encourage you to look up zero-click search results, where when people search something on Google, you can see the results come up as a snippet, like you see it right there. So that's another trend that we've seen an increase on. We have obviously live events. Everybody has done live events to some capacity. We're broadcasting this live, actually. Live events are now integrated into most streaming platforms. So you can stream on Facebook, on YouTube, and a few others. It's been, life-changing for many companies to be able to reach way beyond their local communities. And live events and the ease of launching them have allowed us to do that. Automated bidding strategies. This has also taken another level when it comes to bidding on your ads. there's a lot of AI machine learning that takes place on those bidding strategies. And of course, depending if you're using AdWords, Facebook, Taboola, or third-party ad platforms. But we've seen smarter bidding, which gets you more out of your budget when it comes to clicks and engagement. But what we've seen, and this is just internal, is an increase because of these smarter bidding, an increase in cost per click. So I don't know if these smarter bidding and AI and paid ads have driven the cost up, or is it just basic, I would say, demand and supply driving the prices up? But we've seen an increase in those and products that are standalone products that sits on top of Facebook and AdWords that allows you to do better bidding and better budgeting. So these are just quick summaries of the top 5. I think we shared more, if I'm not mistaken, George. But in terms of what we've seen the most implemented since our 2021 prediction last year, these are the top 5.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. All right, so I just want to do a quick shout out for those who just joined in. Thank you. Please leave us in the chat your information, name, email, LinkedIn, whatever you want to share. We syndicate it and we go through the transcript. Also, please join our community. George will be putting it repeatedly in the chat throughout this conversation. And if there's a way we can pin it, I think maybe that's a good idea, George. It's a highly engaged community on Facebook. We'd love you to be part of it. And if you missed our course announcement, we are giving away our courses for our attendees and our community. So we'll be giving you codes through the chat as well. Cool. I don't see any questions so far, except for one. Will you record and send? Yes, we will. Redwas, if it's too late for you, do not worry. We'll syndicate the recording. We'll email everybody, but you have to be on our mailing list. Okay, support us with opens and clicks. But we will be sending the slides, the recording, and the transcript as well. So you'll have access to it if you fell asleep.
Actually, Rich, we have another question.
Sure.
Is there a go-to areas on how to set that up via landing pages?
Oh, yes, we have in the academy. All right. And I come back to the academy because I've built or I've recorded the sections on landing pages. You can learn everything you need to learn about the landing page product on VBOUT. If that's what you're asking, I highly encourage you to try to go to academy.vbout.com. And if you scroll down to the landing page and pop-ups, you'll see bite-sized videos on every single part of the builder. Okay. Cool. Any other questions, Elsa?
No, we are good to continue.
Cool. All right. Some numbers in terms of impacted industries last year, and I share these because I like numbers. We tend to see where things are headed. Obviously, we can look at the past to try to predict the future and some change trends. In terms of the industry impacts, travel and hospitality took the biggest dip in the past year due to pandemic. Healthcare, online retail, consumer products have been doing pretty well. And obviously everything in the transportation and the logistics have exploded over the past couple of years. Demand is extremely high to the degree that we cannot find talent anymore in certain industries due to that demand. So there was a huge kind of shift in consumption. Even email marketing in some industries have increased dramatically. And some of them, like manufacturing, who used to live in the dinosaur age, and many of them never, barely had a website. They started to invest more in some, community building, more B2B and lead generation and stuff like that. And that's all due to, all that explosion and shift in industries and demand. All right, so let's start with the trends. I know you guys are excited. The first trend that I want to share is more customer experience, more focus on customer experience. And we've done a session that talks about that. Customer experience is not just when somebody's speaking to you on chat, it's actually when they see your ad, they click on it and engage with it. And then they land on a page that has the same continuity with the offer. They fill up the form and they get information sent to them with the details of that offer. They end up speaking to somebody, watching a personalized demo. They get personalized emails and a personalized phone call from an SDR, if you're a B2B, let's say. And then once they make a purchase, the support team knows who they are. They speak to them directly. And there is this end-to-end relationship from the first touch point to retention, okay? I still work with some brands who I have no idea who's on the other side. And I feel like I'm just dealing with a robot. It's not that I feel like there's much that can be improved on that front. And in VBOUT, obviously, if you are working with us, you understand our human element. We don't even have bots in our chat beyond the hello. We have one bot, which is welcome, thank you, here's a resource. But everything else, we emphasize on having a person respond to you in a timely fashion, okay? So putting an emphasis on customer experience, thinking it and baking it into your strategy, that's not a new thing, but more companies and brands are going to invest this upcoming year to get that thumbs up on social, to get those 5-star reviews on Google, or to simply be doing more and more case studies and hand-holding with their customers. If you haven't built your customer experience strategy for your company, whether you're a service or you're a SaaS or you're an e-commerce, it doesn't matter. You really have to have some strategy for it. It could be as basic as a couple of people in your operation executing it end to end, but it needs to be also trickling down in your organization. So make it successful for your customers to come on board, give them all the resources that they need. And if they're not happy, make it easy for them to exit and be happy for whatever outcome there is. So this is the first trend, is you're going to see more emphasis on customer experience, more events like this where companies are trying to bring the community together, because it's all part of that success of your company, of your service. All right, second trend is obviously the rise of first-party cookies and the death of the third-party cookie world. This has created a divide between, Facebook, Apple, Google to some extent. And if you're not familiar with the differences, third-party cookie is usually served through third parties like Facebook, where they have this robust technology that tracks you and then can serve you ad when you go somewhere else. First-party cookie is things that you own. Like you send an email to your contacts, they open and they click, then they visit your website, they fill out a form. Maybe they consume a blog article and they spend on it 5 minutes. This is data that you own. It doesn't belong to Facebook, right? And due to what happened last year, or actually earlier this year, people have started to get a little bit more educated about the importance of consolidating data in one place. So they're investing in all-in-one platforms more. They are thinking this continuity, not only sending an email and stopping there, but what happens after they click and they go on the site and they do convert today, or they convert in the future, or maybe they even do some sort of a calendar booking. That continuity of tracking is important. And you can collect them again through your emails out campaign or automation, through your chat product, browser push, your landing pages and forms through your website. So it's quite probably built into a lot of things you already have, but having them all dump into one profile is really important. Okay, and that's the same snapshot I had before. So it's a unified view where you can create your own audiences and the data will be yours. Even if you shut down that ad, you'll still own that information, okay? When I say own, it actually belongs to the user, but you can use it for better targeting, better purposing, and obviously sending an email is a lot cheaper than a click through an ad. Okay.
Richard, we have a question from Rashida. She's asking, how does VBOUT first-party cookie work and how do we set it up? So I think, as Richard was explaining, Rashida, you can either do it via, for example, when you create a browser push notification, when you ask people the first moment they land on your site, if they ask you if you want to accept receiving notifications from them. And once you click accept, so they have your data, or when, for example, you fill out a form and you give consent that you would like to receive email marketing from that company and give your contact information. And from that moment, all the data will be tracked, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, this is part of it, George, exactly. So to make it easy for you, Rashida, in the technical setup of VBOUT, we give you probably, you need 15 minutes to get this entire thing set up. One, we give you a code like Google Analytics, you put it on your website. Two, when you start using our email tool, that's a second, probably the most effective channels that most of you here still use today. You use our forms to add on your site as well. So we are collecting data, we can merge that IP information. If you're using a chat component, we can integrate with different chat products as well via different ways. So this will come as you implement the campaign, but within our academy, let me see if I can pull that up real quick. All right, here we go. So you'll notice the getting started, which is chapter 1. We talk about domain sender verification, tracking code, browser push setup, integrations, and we recently launched Twilio call tracking. So even now, if you do an outbound call through VBOUT using Twilio, that recording will go under that customer profile. So we're going beyond, just the basic email and web page visits. If you have an e-commerce, we have integrations with e-commerce where we can track purchases, product visits, lifetime value, abandoned carts, okay? There's some setup involved. You can see here it's about 6 to 7 minutes, and you should be up and running if you're using some of the already plugins. Okay, it shouldn't be too hard, Rashida. And whether you're there from the course or from our team, you should be up and running fairly quickly. Okay. Thank you for the question, by the way. Anybody else have any questions on this? This is could be technical for a few of you, but it's not as difficult as it seems.
Yes, Rich, actually, we have a few questions.
Yeah.
Do you have any data on the acceptance rate of browser push notification?
Martin, we have a general kind of conversion on browser push. Now, browser push does not work on every single browser out there, especially Apple and certain Apple browsers. The Safari do not really serve well the consent or the service worker. Sorry. So the service worker does not work on certain Apple. So from visits, we've noticed about 2 to 3% conversions on browser push, which is an amazing number if you deploy it on certain pages. However, I've seen cases with e-commerce and certain industries where it's up 10 to 15% opt-in rates on browser push. They can do really well if you have the right volume of traffic, and they drive additional ways to reach the customer. And I always preach this with everybody. When you're collecting information, you need to collect an email, a phone number for SMS or phone if you need to do outbound calling, a cookie for doing retargeting if you're running ads, and a browser push consent. If you have those 4, you are able to reach your customers across different channels. Hopefully this clarifies a little bit. All right, so I have a question from Joe. I have the questions here. I'm using CallRails. Any plans to include CallRails? Possibly, Joe. For now, we are fully integrated with Twilio, so this was our first option. Could it be in the future done with CallRails? Maybe. If CallRails is already available on Pabbly or Zapier, and they could send the link to the recording, we can push this as a custom event to VBOUT and add it to that customer profile via that option. All right, so I think I answered Joe. I have Rick is asking how to use a landing page to create a browser push notification that can be linked to Wix. Rick, this is a little bit technical, so if you don't mind, I can either answer you offline, or George, if you go to our help section, you can put in a link to Rick, how you can add browser push to landing pages. We have a document on that.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, I will send it.
Perfect. Yes, and Martin, these are numbers that I've seen internally. I'm not speaking globally with some companies, if you like Push Crew and others, they talk about much higher open rates, but from the deployments that I worked on closely, and I can safely say I've done a few hundreds this year alone, I've seen that type of conversion on browser push. It costs you $0. It's unlimited with us. It's a simple file you upload, guys, so do not miss on it. There's not much in terms of implementation or even cost. Cool. I answered everyone.
We still have question from Rashida as well.
Okay.
When using Zapier, you want to read it or?
If it's related to this, then yes. Otherwise, I can leave it to the end if that's okay, guys. So I keep everybody on track. We have a LinkedIn page, not group, Frederick. Acceptance rates, I think I answered. Can we integrate with call rails? We answered. And Rashida's asking, go ahead, George, I'll take it.
Okay, sure. When using Zapier or Pabbly, can the tracking cookie carry the same tracking data on another platform if connected by Zapier?
Got it. If you're sending information to us and you send me the IP address, I might be able to merge the data. Or if you don't have, if the contact does not exist on VBOUT, you can send me the IP address of the person if you tracked it, and I can try to find it inside our database if they've done some activities at the anonymous level. If you have the contact record on VBOUT in an email form and you have them on third party, you just send us the email and we'll do the merge for you. Okay. Awesome. Cool. All right, so let's talk about branding trends. This actually is important. Everybody here is a marketer or they work in some capacity with their product online. So what we've seen is a lot of more trends with minimalistic designs. As you can see right here, not a lot going on. A lot of companies are defaulting to hamburger menus, even on desktop, and keeping things extremely simple, very basic, light colors, white background, with some, support to dark mode and stuff like that. Also, we're going to see more, I would say, quirky designs. This is an example from Up Banking. This is actually, if you believe it or not, this is a splash page for a credit card company. I believe they're in Australia. And you can see right here, I mean, the brand is just funny. It's not like the typical banking that we've seen. And there's a big shift right now into breaking the traditional corporate type sites to a little bit more kind of funny with personality to it. Flat illustrations with distorted icons and elements. Nothing new, but more and more companies are using it. And there are so many resources and libraries out there that you can start from. So you don't have to spend tons of money, mocking these and paying a graphic designer. Although, of course, the best way is to hire someone to do your own kind of brand. But this is another branding trend for this year. Bauhaus design, which are geometric shapes. This is also rising in popularity in terms of design. So you will see logos shaped this way. You'll see, I think Google kind of have that in one of their branding. You'll see them in backgrounds. You'll see them in iconographies and so on. back to retro designs, nostalgia and gradient designs. A lot of companies are implementing this, and graphics has become, abundant everywhere, that you can launch your retro design, or you can get your graphic for gradient colors and beautiful backgrounds very easily. Then you have immersive brand experiences. I mean, most of you have seen the new Facebook brand and what they're trying to do in terms of an immersive experience with everything from gaming to experiencing certain brands, trialing e-commerce products. More brands are investing in this, giving you first access to things, making you feel like you're part of the experience. Whether they're doing it through, hardware, or they're doing it through video, either way, brand experience and storytelling is becoming, is another trend you'll see this year. Lastly, from a branding and design, everything needs to be designed for mobile first. So that means whatever you do, most of your traffic, most of your visitors are going to be on mobile. So design for mobile, whether it is your quirky, minimalistic, or full-on maximum design, it has to be mobile friendly. So this is for branding trends. Anybody has a question or they want to add to this? Everybody's okay so far? Right.
Yes, I think, yeah, we have just question from Facebook, but we can keep it since it's feature related.
Feature related, cool. And I do know, guys, most of you are really tempted to ask feature questions and support questions. We'll always answer you, I promise. But just to keep the flow of this presentation going, we're talking about 2022 marketing trends. I'm gonna leave those to the end of the session, if that's okay. If you have anything related to this particular point of branding trends for 2022, please let me know. All right. Building engaged communities. There are so many resources out there where you can build your own community, your own group, whether you're using Facebook, whether you're using third-party tools to build a community. It is, and it should be part of what you're doing, right? You guys are part of our community in one shape or another. If you came from Meetup, if you came from email invite, or through our Facebook group, I mean, you are your community, and you own that engagement in terms of you don't have to pay for it. If you're providing value and you are bringing to the table something that your customer base appreciates, you're sharing values, you're sharing goals, I think you'll find highly engaged individuals on the other side, which will really be one of your most cherished assets. And we do appreciate that you guys come on board. We do appreciate what you leave on Facebook in terms of comments and such. And there are so many tools, guys. Now you can create an event with one click. You can have it on Facebook. You can add an event on LinkedIn. And soon you'll probably be able to do it on other channels like TikTok and others. Correct me if I'm wrong, if it's already out there. You can also create polls on the go and get feedback from a community that could drive you making decisions on the product. We use this to get feedback on integrations or planned features and stuff like that. And obviously doing live events is another thing, right? Which you can engage your community. I've seen a lot of marketers do pop-up live events where they talk about something, nothing really planned in terms of like webinar and invites, just launching a live broadcast on Facebook and, talking about a specific topic. Maybe we're going to try this ourselves for this upcoming year. Awesome. All right, more AI and predictive modeling. Honestly, this has been a trend for 3 years now, almost. And it hasn't quite matured to the degree where I can confidently say that we are there. Okay, primarily because AI tasks are very good at doing one thing and one thing only. But I feel like next year, we're going to see a lot more tools baked into the things that you use. Okay. And VBOUT, for example, we're launching a subject line analyzer that's going to be based on some AI modeling and machine learning. That's one of the things. And we are aiming also by mid to end of third quarter next year, if all stars align, to also give you some predictions on the likeliness of a lead to convert or not. Okay, and one of the reasons that we can possibly provide this is because we are collecting a lot on the first party data side of things. So when we know someone's best open time or click-throughs or conversions, lifetime values, I can predict to some extent somebody like them if they're going to be following similar patterns or not. Okay, and in terms of how you can use it, whether it is the best time to send the campaign, what kind of content drives the most engagement on social, what kind of leads you should focus on, or even analyzing conversations when you are recording conversations with your customers for customer experience, support, or even sales. There are a lot of tools that analyze those conversations to create some sort of an agenda or summary of the call, or even some suggestions on how to make it better. So one way or another, you're going to see a big rise in tools that are built into products. And of course, e-commerce is on the frontier of this, from product recommendations to dynamic pricing and a few other things. I've seen some amazing talks on how e-commerce are going to be reshaped in the next couple of years. So this is in terms of more AI and machine learning. Does anyone have anything to add to this? Any questions on this? Right. George, any questions on Facebook?
Mainly feature related.
Got it.
We have a question which somehow related to the trends. You mentioned cookies in chatbot. Which chatbot does this work with? Does it work, for example, with Intercom?
Cookies with chatbots. I think chatbots, getting the conversation from a chatbot tied back to a profile is probably the easiest way to describe this. And I'm sorry, I don't have the name of the person who asked the question. But if you are able to somehow to take the conversation, put it back inside the customer profile, that's the easiest way to kind of bring it over. We have it in Intercom. We integrate them slightly differently, but that's one way to do it. I do see a couple of questions here, George.
Yes.
One from Guillermo. He's asking, shouldn't branding design follow strategy, targets, and persona? Absolutely, Guillermo. These are some ideas for directions on how to take your brand. If you look at how MailChimp has innovated their brands over time, I can't say that they always followed their target persona per se, which is the SMB, the operator of a small shop or small e-commerce. But they've done amazing to make the brands pretty much kind of, how to describe this? So the branding that they used almost with time became synonym with their target segment. So now when you see those flat icons or those bubbles or that kind of in and out shadow, and they, by the way, they have a new branding that they're launching. You think, MailChimp, small business marketing, that type of stuff. So I feel like the persona fit the branding, not the other way around. All right, so Martin asked for SMBs without huge data sets available. What aspect of AI do you think will be most worthwhile to invest? GPT-3 copywriters, predictive analytics, or others? So for those of you who don't know what GPT-3, this is a tool by one of Elon Musk's AI products. I think it's called OpenAI, and you can use GPT-3 to come up with copy by giving a little bit of input, and the model or the machine on the other side, the AI, will come up with a copy. Martin, correct me if I missed this, but I think in terms of email copy, absolutely. although I'm a little bit, I don't use out of the box scripts. I try to apply it to our brand and stuff, but I do get inspirations. So for me at VBOUT, we're not using, these type of machines to generate copy, but I do think for small brands, maybe GPT-3 copywriters or any copy creator tools could be a good fit. The best format of a subject line and giving you suggestions on how to improve it so you can optimize opens and conversions and click-throughs. I think that's another area. And the likeliness of a lead converting, because machine learning does not only work on your profiles, it could work on a similar profile that has a lot more data and how that worked. Obviously, there's data anonymity to the max here. It's just modeling, general metadata, as we call it. So I think, even if you're a small business with a small data set, you can leverage some of these tools like the one we just mentioned. Awesome. Cool. So I answered. Yes. All right. Number 6, product-led marketing. Most companies are now valuing integrations, and some companies are fading away because they never had integrations part of their strategy. Okay. We are very limited on resources, but yet we manage to create integrations, and it's 20% of our roadmap at any given time. Now, how do you find these? You can partner up with the company, share audiences with them, integrate products together, right? So you're tapping into their community, they're tapping into yours. You can cross market, but ultimately any partnership needs to provide value. Some of these integrations could be self-serve, like maybe you take your app, you put it on Salesforce, and now you're in the Salesforce Exchange, or you can be on HubSpot, or if you are a service company, maybe you can integrate part of what you do with some products and offer more like a software layer to your service. That also could be an integration part of things. So product-led marketing is another area where companies are investing, especially if you're a SaaS company or even an e-commerce brand. So make sure you work on integrations and work on partnerships, because it's not only your community that you should be focused on, although they should be your center of attention, but you can tap into partners communities and stuff through joint events, webinars like these, joint podcasts, and some technical integrations. All right. Number 7, we have 3 more, guys, so please bear with us. Obviously, in the last, I think, 2 sessions ago, we talked about the new changes in email engagement. If you are not familiar with this, but now Apple is going to automatically open any email that gets delivered to your Apple device with certain operating systems. And that's going to skew the way that people measure email engagement. It's always been how many opens we've gotten, whether it is you're deciding on a vendor, whether it is you're checking spam rates, or even just measuring the ROI of your email. A lot of companies, they start from open rates. So open rates are going to be the second metric, or even the third moving forward. Most people are going to be focused on other things. They're going to be focused on click-through rates. They're going to be focused on conversions and website engagement post-clicking on the email. So if you haven't thought this strategy, please do so. Rechanging how you measure email effectiveness is top of mind for upcoming year. In VBOUT, we're going to be introducing probably a new metric that's more accurate based on some patterns that we're going to detect on the open rates. Okay, so you can have your open rate as detected as is, and we'll probably have a little bit more accurate open rate that's going to consider Apple devices, patterns of automatic opens and stuff like that. So we are working on this model, and we have a sprint for it, definitely for the upcoming year, but at least it will present a new opportunity to stay and retain that open rate as one of the top metrics, but it has to also be only one of the few. Like the clicks, conversions are probably one of the top metrics I recommend. All right, any questions on this, guys? I know this was a hot topic for the past few months. If anyone has any questions on email open rates or click-throughs or where these are headed or any ideas, please share them with us. This is a good area here. George, any questions on Facebook?
No, not yet.
All right. We have live event monetization. You're going to see that a lot upcoming year. So what that means, you're going to see ads inside events like this one, right? And how you control it. And you as a publisher, you should be able to get paid for doing that or launching those ads. So, most companies and brands might not rely on ads or, kind of that shared revenue model in their live events. But if you're a publisher and you have a decent following, you oftentimes struggle generating revenues from your events. And one of the ways to do this is obviously to create a course, to create some, an ebook that people can purchase. You can create a program that you can sell, and being able to add advertising to your live events is one of the trends you'll see for the upcoming year. Also in live event checkout, so you'll be able to create a product, a checkout, and people can pay you right there and then and get access to the product. Or, obviously if you're shipping a physical product, you'll have that tied into the back end of your e-commerce. So a lot of efforts are being added to live events, not only to make them a conference-like in what Hopin is doing by acquiring different companies to make live events a lot more engaging, but also making purchases and monetizing live events is still a ripe area for people to get into. So I'm wondering if anybody here is building technologies similar to this that's going to monetize live events. I would love to hear what you're doing in the chat. It's a really interesting area for us here at VBOUT, and I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of people. Any questions here, guys?
All good.
Okay. Okay, last but not least, we're gonna see, actually, I think I have flipped a couple of slides here, so I apologize. Anonymity across the board, guys. You're gonna see a lot more focus on privacy, a lot more focus on how you're managing the data, whether it is GDPR or local in the United States or any other country. You have to have some terms of services and clear description of how you share information, how you collect and manage data, and where are you located. And now GDPR is becoming a lot more complex than before. You have to have a representative in the EU, you have to add contractual clauses, and eventually you have to have your physical server exist there, or you can't be doing business. So whatever it is, you need to be thinking your strategy. And a lot of blockchain companies are trying to create some sort of an anonymity baked into, with privacy in it. So instead of signing up with your own information, you can sign up with some entity through the blockchain that's going to get validated, and you can get access to information through that anonymous identity. Okay, this is a very high level of a very complex idea that's still being experimented on. But I think, privacy, anonymity, people want to give less information, but they still want to get access to the same amount of data and things. An area of interest for the upcoming year. And I think soon enough, every state in America is going to have GDPR-like requirements and compliance. So think your privacy strategy and be very transparent on how you process data and who you share it with. All right, so this is it, guys. Let me summarize real quick. We have more emphasis on customer experience, rise of the first-party cookie, more branding trends, and there are a few in there, building engaged communities, more AI and predictive modeling, product-led marketing through partnerships and integrations, CTR take over open rates in email marketing, click-throughs and conversions, live event monetization, and more anonymity across the board and privacy as well. So this is it. I will open up the floor to everybody here, but before I do, there are some resources that we are going to share with you that could potentially help you. Feel free to repurpose these guys however you want. One of them is how to create a successful customer experience. I think this is a full-on session meetup we did. How to optimize marketing campaigns with first-party cookie, AMP for email latest releases, Apple mail privacy protection, and the trends for 2021. So you'll find these resources inside the presentation. Pardon me. And George, please put in the link in the chat so you guys can repurpose these. You can use them in any way that you like. Okay. All right, so I'll open up the floor here for everybody. Rashida, these are the trends from last year in case you want to kind of review them, but obviously we're gonna give you the trends we shared here for the upcoming year. And feel free to reshare them. We appreciate a credit if you can put in on the footer. That would be awesome. Does anyone want to pitch anything, guys? I can make you a presenter, or I can make you a panelist so you can speak to the audience. I know we have about 56 people right now, but anything or anybody wants to pitch themselves, pitch their product, I'll give you about 10-15 seconds to do so. Got a shy bunch here. Damien, Ed, Eric, I see a lot of you who are part of VBOUT. All right, so guys, if you joined us late, do not worry. We're going to be sending you the recording and the slides as we usually do. Please join our community. George will be putting it in the chat right now. We'll also give you access to VBOUT training. So I'll share those resources with you right now. We have daily pre-recorded training sessions that we have. Highly encourage you join them. Okay, let me see if I can share one of them with you. So we have this onboarding that takes place every day. So I'll put it in the chat, this onboarding and training session. You can sign up and watch it, and we'll also send you a link to the recording thereafter. It's an hour and 40 minutes. It teaches you everything you need on VBOUT. We also have the Academy where you can go to the entire system. Every single feature is pretty much covered, about 99% of the platform. And George have all the codes that you need, so you do not have to pay for it. And of course, we do monthly meetups like this and monthly partner meetup, which is a little bit more closed with a few of you guys, just to keep it, new releases and stuff like that. We've been syndicating it on Facebook. We've been inviting more people, but overall, we do that once a month for new releases and products focused on VBOUT. All right, so Fola Sayo was asking about the codes. Thank you, George. She's putting in the chat. Any other questions, or anybody want to raise their hands? I know they have this function here. Happy to make you promote you to a panelist. Martin's asking, any chance of partners getting a VBOUT demo landing page template in their portal would help get leads? Martin, we used to have a page, we retired it. We might be adding it again as a default partner template per se. Great idea. Thank you for the suggestion. All right. So those of you who are wondering how you can redeem this, if you go to take the course on this page, you click take the course, and now you have the checkout where you enter the code right in here. Okay. Simply come here, click enter the code, and that's gonna help you with this. Okay. All right, I'm gonna be pausing the live stream and I'm gonna stay for a few minutes. I haven't seen anybody raise their hand to introduce
Richard,
themselves or to pitch anything, but yeah.
Yeah, we have a question from Jim from Remke.
Sure, hey Jim.
Yeah, is the 20 megabyte limit almost removed for social media posts?
Yeah, so this is twofold. One, we had the limit on the server itself. Two, we have an open sprint to increase the size limit on social media posts because every channel treats it differently. So it is in the works. I know it's taken a little bit of time, but for the past 2 months, we've increased our usage dramatically. So we've been optimizing infrastructures and such. So yes, it is an open sprint and active on our roadmap. I'll keep you posted once it's up and running.
Richard, what's the percentage commission for the partner program?
Usually all partners get 10% by default, but we have a reseller option where you can create your own plans and pricing that do not exist on VBOUT. So you can sell a $20 product for $50 and make up your own margins. I highly encourage you to use this feature, guys. As a reseller, you control what you resell on VBOUT if you have the custom plan builder on your partner portal. Okay. All right. Any other questions? I know we are good on time here. We still have about a few minutes. I'll stay until 6:10 to see if anyone want to say anything or.
Any plans to code smart lists like close.io? Can even sort or filter by the last name the person was contacted?
The last name the person was contacted. I'm not sure. Where is that question, George? Is it on Facebook?
On Facebook, yeah.
All right. So I won't stop the Facebook stream. I have to read the question.
I will send it to you if you would like via chat here.
Yeah, I didn't. Sorry, I see it right here. Any plan to go to smart list like Close.io, even sort filter by the last time the person was contacted? Okay, got it. So Evans, depending what you mean by the last time the person was contacted, because in VBOUT, we're not a CRM first product, we are marketing. We have something called last engagement. So if I am to open my VBOUT app and go to my audiences, you can think audiences are smart lists. Pardon me, guys. There we go. If I go to my contacts and click on audiences, I can create an audience here and call that audience, based on the last engagement. So I can say, give me those whose last engagement date was before, after, or in between. But last engagement could be an email click, could be a website visit, could be a purchase. So you have to be differentiating whether the last engagement is. Now, whatever they have on close.io, I think maybe contacted is a built-in CRM function. We don't have it exactly the same way. Maybe there's a workaround for this from one of our other fields. But as of now, the only thing I can think about is the last engagement date. Now, obviously you can create your own custom field and call it last time contacted and updated. That could be a possible temporary option. All right. Anyone else have any questions?
We have a good question actually from Folasayo. Can VBOUT replace HubSpot completely? Good question.
The marketing layer on HubSpot, I would say yes. Now we don't have SEO tools, but we have plans to integrate with SEMrush. SEMrush is a great platform. It can get a little bit expensive, but they do provide a free layer there which you can use to get some reports on a daily basis. They're getting more generous with their SEO reporting. So you can use their free tier, and you'll eventually be able to add it to VBOUT. This is one of the main things we decided to work with them because we have a long-term relationship. And then we don't have the blog component, but I wonder who uses the HubSpot blog component. So in terms of marketing, we can replace most of HubSpot's marketing cloud, but I cannot say we can replace their entire CRM suite, or we don't have support suite. Okay. But in HubSpot, the most expensive product is the marketing suite. That's where they make all their money. Martin, we are working on the roadmap. We're just trying to, we have an SSL bottleneck with the current provider. We're trying to shift to a different SSL provider. That's been taking up a lot of our engineering power, and I'm going to shift the roadmap with my team once we complete that bottleneck with the SSL. I know some of you might be provisioning SSLs and getting some delays. That's because of the providers doing a very bad job and giving us the proper response and the proper support. So to answer your question, Martin, very soon, if I can do it in the next week or two, I'll let you know, guys, on the Facebook group. All right. Do we have an option for custom tracking domain to boost deliverability? Evans, I'm not sure I follow. Are you referring to like sending emails from your own domain, which we already have, of course? You can add your own domain names. You can verify them with the SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. If this is what you're talking about, then yes. But if you're referring to something else, please clarify. All right, Richard, what about replacing MailChimp with VBOUT? I think I can safely say you can replace a lot of the MailChimp features with VBOUT. You'll find a lot more features, capabilities, obviously better support, openness to listen to your feedback and all that type of stuff with us. HubSpot, I mean, MailChimp is great, but it is limited on many fronts for marketers. Where a link or partner meeting. I put in the link in the chat to the VBOUT partner meeting, so I'll put it again.
Yeah, I put it to the landing page.
Yes. If you're interested in our partner meeting, you can join us. We'll send you invitations on a monthly basis. Thank you, Jim. You got to run. I get it. Let me see. Thanks, Ed. Replace constant contact with VBOUT. Yes. And yeah, I think I answered everything here. George, anything else? Final check on Facebook.
No, all good. Evans said he was talking about the tracking links instead, emails, tracking, opens, etc.
Yeah, I was talking about the tracking links instead of email tracking. So if you want to embed your own tracking links, Evans, instead of the VBOUT tracking links. We have our own internal links that we generate for all your URLs, which tracks every click and engagement with the email. We have a white label option where you can make it your own. So instead of having like a vbt.email / the link, you can make it your own link. There's some setup involved. You can see it probably right here, white label, vanity URL, use a custom domain, but you have to install this code on your site. Very, very important. Otherwise, you'll mess up all your links. Test it and make sure the implementation is right. Then the links inside your emails will be tracked using your own domain of choice. All right, so Joe is saying it looks like we use LearnDash. Yes, we do. We use LearnDash and WooCommerce combined. They work with each other, and then we installed the VBOUT WooCommerce plugin to track the data. So when somebody takes the course, we automatically adds them to VBOUT, and we can clock in that conversion and purchase of the course on our VBOUT profiles. So it's quite easy setup. I think LearnDash is good, very bad on reporting though, export capabilities, but they've been purchased by another company, and hopefully that gets better, not worse.
Is it possible to show content on the landing page based on segment list people are on? Maybe dynamic, not sure if Folasayo is talking about dynamic content.
What is that question, George?
In the chat of Zoom. So maybe showing content on a landing page based on segment list people are on.
We have a filter which only work for a couple of geographical location and UTM source traffic, I believe.
Yes.
Not so much on all the different segments, but we do have merge tags that you can add to the page that could be pulled from the customer profile. So if you send an email to 1,000 people to go to a landing page, you can plug in on that page some merge tags. Some people refer to them. We call them short codes in VBOUT. And this is where you can have certain information display for that particular segment. Not exactly the same way you're referring to, but a quick workaround.
Great. I think these are questions, but there's a question also, or actually a request from I Live by Faith. He's asking you if you can read this, but of course.
Got it. Good. Sure. We can schedule a call. Yeah, there's no issue there. I know this is more of an integration question. If you can email support at VBOUT and, just to kind of set up a quick Zoom call, they will get on there and will help you out. No problem.
We have also from Stavi. Richard, with custom SMTP to use Gmail integration for SMTP with WordPress.
Custom SMTP with WordPress. Not sure that's the phrasing of the question. I think I understand. If you want to use custom SMTP, I would only use the SMTP provider that supports bulk email send, guys, because if you're sending an email to 20,000 people, don't add your Gmail credentials here, or I don't know if you're using some server side cPanel or to add them here, because you cannot send 20,000 emails through these services. SendGrid, SparkPost, Amazon SCS, MailJet. There are a few services that lets you do that. That's what the purpose of the custom SMTP is for. Okay. Did I answer your question? Maybe I did. It's crazy, guys, because GoToWebinar has a section for comments, and there's another section for questions, and you also have questions coming in from Facebook. So sorry if I'm like going back and forth.
Yeah.
Can you do more API related videos? So Dennis, I think, API is very technical, and usually we have everything that you need already there. One thing that people don't notice is if you go to your API integrations, you're going to be able to get your API logs with the failed calls and the successful calls, so you can see what went wrong, any failed attempts or anything like that. Okay, so this is very helpful. A lot of people don't know this, and you have your API key right here. Then you have developer.developers.vbout.com. This is where you can find our I would say the native API you can build on top. And we have an e-commerce layer, completely different API, which complements this one if you have an e-commerce platform that we don't offer an out-of-the-box plugin for. And the libraries are quite simple. If you have a basic coding skills, you can definitely use some of our API libraries. Now, with Sync Spider, we actually work with them on integrating the e-commerce endpoints, which is not something that are offered with the other integration partners. I don't know if ConnectZit might have it, but now with Sync Spider, you'll be able to create a cart, update the cart, create orders. So all of this will be synced back to the profile. Any questions, please send them to us, Dennis. We'll happy to answer you or guide you on our e-commerce integrations. All right, I think I can take one more. Let's see. All right, Joe said, thanks for the webinar. Thank you, Joe, for joining us and for consuming the content. It means a lot, especially your feedback. Yes, Stevie. So Sync Spider is a third-party integration tool. So instead of building an API connectors and stuff, you use them. They might have a little bit of a fee, but honestly, we live in a time where everybody has some budget for integration, whether it's $10 or $20 a month or whatever. So with them, I think you'll be able to do some of those integrations at a deeper level. But I do recommend evaluating Pabbly, ConnectZit, Zapier, and Sync Spider as well. Sure thing. All right. So I think this is it, guys. We'll conclude the call. Thank you so much, everyone who joined us today and watched this. We hope we provided value in terms of the trends for the upcoming year. We will be sharing these slides, the presentation, the video with you. And we'll have an upcoming session, I believe, next month, George, right? Or what are we doing with December? Do you know the topic yet?
Maybe we can, not yet, but we'll decide within a week, actually.
Got it. All right, very good. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll see you on the upcoming session or the partner event. Other than that, enjoy the rest of the week, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you all, guys.
Thanks, George. Thanks, Elsa.
Sure, thank you, Richard. Great presentation.